It's a good day from me, all is well. Welcome to the Tabernacle Tent. Today's study will be in the book of Tobit. But first, as he was an exile that was taken into Nineveh, this very interesting Zane, remember the word you pledged your servant, on which you have built my hope. This has been my comfort in my suffering, that your promise gives me life. Endlessly the arrogant have jeered at me, but I have not swerved from your law. Remembering your rulings in the past, Yahweh, I take comfort. Fury grips me when I see the wicked abandoning your law. Where I live in exile, your statutes are psalms for me. All night, Yahweh, I remember your name and observe your law. Surely it will count to my credit that I respect your precepts. Yahweh, your love fills the earth. Teach me your statutes. In accordance with your word, Yahweh, you have been good to your servant. Teach me good sense and knowledge, for I rely on your commandments. In earlier days I had to suffer. I used to stray, but now I remember your promise. You, so good and kind, teach me your statutes. Though the arrogant tell foul lies about me, I wholeheartedly respect your precepts. Their hearts are gross as fat, but my delight is in your law. It was good for me to have to suffer, the better to learn your statutes. I put the law you have given before all the gold and silver in the world. So I will be starting with Tobit's prayer. He was in such a state that he was asking God to take his life. Okay. You are just, O Lord, and just are all your works. All your ways are grace and truth, and you are the judge of the world. Therefore, Lord, remember me, look on me. Do not punish me for my sins, or for my heedless faults, or for those of my fathers. For we have sinned against you and broken your commandments, and you have given us over to be plundered, to captivity and death, and to be the talk, the laughing stock and scorn of all the nations among whom you have dispersed us. Whereas all your decrees are true, when you deal with me as my faults deserve, and those of my fathers, since we have neither kept your commandments nor walked in truth before you. So now do with me as you will. Be pleased to take my life from me. I desire to be delivered from earth, and to become earth again. For death is better for me than life. I have been reviled without a cause, and I am distressed beyond measure. Lord, I wait for the sentence you will give to deliver me from this affliction. Let me go away to my everlasting home. Do not turn your face from me, O Lord, for it is better to die than still live, in the face of trouble that knows no pity. I am weary of hearing myself traduced. So the next prayer that is said in this book of Tobit is from Sarah. So that's an interesting one, but let's just go to chapter 1. So I'm not sure what book to read it out of. I have a few here. You won't find this in the King James, the book of Tobit. Tobit was an exile. He was a son of Tobias, son of Ananiel, son of Aduel, son of Gabael, of the lineage of Exiled, the tribe of Naphtali. In the days of Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, Tobit, he was exiled from Thisbe. So we see there, south of Kadesh, Naphtali, in Upper Galilee, above Hazar, some distance to the west, north of Shaphat. So this book here is the Jerusalem Bible. I also have a Latin that I've looked into. I've studied this book already. Also another, this one here, Christian Community Bible, Tobit. Okay, so the story of Tobit. I, Tobit, have walked in the ways of truth and justice all the days of my life. I have given many alms to my brethren and to those of my countrymen who were deported with me to Nineveh, a city in the country of the Assyrians. When I was a young man in my country, the land of Israel, all the tribe of my father Naphtali broke away from the family of David in Jerusalem. This was, however, the city chosen among all the tribes of Israel to be the place of sacrifice for all the tribes, and where the temple, the house of God the Most High, had been built and consecrated for all generations forever. All the tribes which had separated, including the tribe of Naphtali my father, sacrificed to the calf Baal, which Jeroboam, king of Israel, had set up at Dan, in the hills of Galilee. I alone often went to Jerusalem for the feasts, as is ordered for all the people of Israel, by an everlasting decree. I went with the first fruits and tithes of my crop, and with the first shearings of the sheep. I gave these for the altar. To the priests, sons of Aaron, I gave a tithe of the corn, the wine, the olives, the pomegranates, the figs, and the other fruits to the Levites, who officiated in Jerusalem. I sold the second tithe every 6 years, and went to distribute the money in Jerusalem. I gave the third tithe to the orphans and widows, and to the pagan converts who had joined the Israelites. I gave them every 3 years, and we ate according to the rules which had been laid down on this matter in the law of Moses, and according to the recommendations made by Deborah, my father's mother, for my father had left me an orphan. When I reached manhood, I married Anna, of the race of our forefathers, and she bore me a son, Tobias. When I was taken to the city of Nineveh as a prisoner, all my relatives and those of our family ate the pagans' food, but I watched over myself so as not to eat it, because I remembered God with all my heart. The Most High let me be esteemed by Shalmaneser, and I became his purchaser. I used to go to Media to make purchases for him until he died. One day I left on deposit with Gabael, brother of Gabria, at Rages in Media, a sack containing 10 talents of silver. When Shalmaneser died, his son Sennacherib became king in his place. In his time, the highways of Media were in a state of insurrection, so that I could no longer go to Media. In the days of Shalmaneser, I gave many alms to my kinsmen. I gave my bread to those who were hungry, my garments to those who were naked, and if I saw any one of my tribe dead, and his body thrown over the ramparts of Nineveh, I would bury him. I buried secretly those whom King Sennacherib killed on returning from Judea in the days when he was punished by the King of Heaven because of the blasphemies which he had uttered. In his anger he slew a great number of Jews. The king looked for their bodies but could not find them. One of the inhabitants of Nineveh went and told the king that I had buried them, so I went into hiding. Then I learned that they were looking for me to put me to death. I was afraid and fled to a distance. All my goods were confiscated, and nothing was left to me that was not taken for the royal treasury, except Anna my wife and Tobias my son. But only 40 days had passed when Sennacherib was killed by his 2 sons. They fled to Mount Ararat, and his son Esarhaddon became king in Sennacherib's place. Esarhaddon appointed Ahikar, the son of my brother Ananiel, over all the administration. Ahikar intervened on my behalf, and I returned to Nineveh. My nephew Ahikar was head of the cupbearers, keeper in the seals, administrator and accountant. Esarhaddon made him second only to himself. But Ahikar was second only to himself, a cupbearer. It's interesting. 40 days. When I returned to my house, my wife Anna and my son Tobias were given back to me. At the feast of Pentecost, the sacred feast of the 7 weeks, they prepared a good meal for me, and I sat down to eat. I saw the many dishes and said to my son, "Go and bring as many as you can find of our relatives who are in need and who remember the Lord. I will wait here for them." When Tobias returned, he said, "Father, one of ours has been strangled and thrown into the public square." Before I ate anything, I hurried out and carried this man into the house and waited till sunset to bury him. When I returned home, I washed myself and ate my food in sorrow. I remembered the prophecy which Amos uttered against Bethel. Your feasts will be turned into mourning. All your songs will be turned into lamentations. And I wept. In the reign of Esarhaddon, therefore, I returned home, and my wife Anna was restored to me with my son Tobias. At our feast of Pentecost, the Feast of Weeks, so there's 7 weeks, a good dinner. It says in this one, he went on, "Father, so Tobias went out to look for some poor man among our brothers, but he came back again and said, 'Father.' I answered, 'What is it, my child?' He went on, 'Father, one of our nation has just been murdered. He has been strangled and then thrown down in the marketplace. He is there still.' I sprang up at once, left my meal untouched, took the man from the marketplace and laid him in one of my rooms, waiting until sunset to bury him. I came in again and washed myself and ate my bread in sorrow, remembering the words of the prophet Amos concerning Bethel. Your feasts will be turned to mourning, and all your songs to lamentation." Okay, so the prophet Amos. "And I wept. When the sun was down, I went and dug a grave and buried him. My neighbors laughed and said, 'See, he is not afraid any more.' You must remember that a price had been set on my head earlier for this very thing. The time before this he had to flee, yet here he is beginning to bury the dead again. That night I took a bath. Then I went into the courtyard and lay down by the courtyard wall. Since it was hot, I left my face uncovered. I did not know that there were sparrows in the wall above my head. Their hot droppings fell into my eyes. White spots then formed, which I was obliged to have treated by the doctors. But the more ointments they tried me with, the more the spots blinded me. And in the end I became blind altogether. I remained without sight 4 years. All my brothers were distressed, and Ahikar provided for my upkeep for 2 years, till he left for Elimaeus. My wife Anna then undertook woman's work. She would spin wool and take cloth to weave. She used to deliver whatever had been ordered from her, and then receive payment. Now, on March the 7th, she finished a piece of work and delivered it to her customers. They paid her all that was due, and into the bargain presented her with a kid for a meal. When the kid came into my house, it began to bleat. I called to my wife and said, "Where does this creature come from? Suppose it has been stolen. Quick, let the owners have it back. We have no right to eat stolen goods." She said, "No, it was a present given me over and above my wages." I did not believe her and told her to give it back to the owners. I blushed at this in her presence. Then she answered, "What about your own alms? What about your own good works? Everyone knows what return you have had for them." Then, sad at heart, I sighed and wept and began this prayer of lamentation. So at the beginning of the video, I was saying that Tobit was in such a distressed state, 4 years blind, and his brethren having to look after him. And then he's just accused his wife of stealing. So she did speak up. What about your own good works? Everyone knows what return you have had for them. So sad at heart. I have read this at the beginning of the video. Why not do it again? Because you are just, O Lord, and just are all your works. All your ways are grace and truth, and you are the judge of the world. Therefore, Lord, remember me, look on me. Do not punish me for my sins, or for my heedless faults, or for those of my fathers. For we have sinned against you, and broken your commandments, and you have given us over to be plundered, to captivity and death, to be the talk, the laughingstock, and scorn of all the nations among whom you have dispersed us. Whereas all your decrees are true, when you deal with me as my faults deserve, and those of my fathers. Since we have neither kept your commandments nor walked in truth before you, so now do with me as you will. Be pleased to take my life from me. I desire to be delivered from earth, and to become earth again. For death is better for me than life. I have been reviled without a cause, and I am distressed beyond measure. Lord, I wait for the sentence you will give to deliver me from this affliction. Let me go away to my everlasting home. Do not turn your face from me, O Lord, for it is better to die than still live, in the face of trouble that knows no pity. I am weary of hearing myself traduced. Okay, so he was being hounded down, but he was a good man. All the alms he had given. So let's have a look at our notes quickly. So the whole tribe of Naphtali broke away from King David's house. They offered sacrifices to the calf that Jehoram, king of Israel, had made at Dan, on the mountains of Galilee. His family obeyed both ordinances so his family, being Anna and Tobias, his immediate, his family obeyed both ordinances of the law of Moses and the exhortations of Deborah, the mother of our father Ananiel. So Tobit's father had died, and he had been left an orphan. So after that prayer had been sent. Anyway, moving on. So this is a testimony of Tobit, a holy man's history recorded. Led into captivity, had an unwavering faith in God. He observed the law, and he was heroic in charity towards his neighbor. But he was afflicted with blindness. Blindness. Be careful when you're looking up. If you're leaning against a wall, be careful of the birds. Poop. Watch out for bird poop. Any sort of things flying, poop. Watch out when you're looking up. So in chapter 1, Tobit was the king's purveyor until the king died, and his son Sennacherib succeeded. So as purveyor, he travelled to Media. He transacted business. He was honoured 10 talents of silver. So the 10 talents of silver deposited to Gabrielus, who was in want, and one from his tribe, taking a note, maybe an IOU, he gave him the 10 talents of silver. So that is not quite in the other little book, that story, but I have studied out of the Jerusalem Bible. So Tobit deposited the 10 talents of silver with Raphael, the brother of Tobias, at Rages in Media. So the son Shalmaneser was Sennacherib. He would often feed, like Tobit would travel. So the roads to Media were barred. No longer could Tobit go there. He would feed and clothe the naked. He would bring and bury them. His son, though the God of heaven punished Sennacherib, he killed a great number of Israelites, both of those, his father and son, Shalmaneser and Sennacherib. So, Tobit was a purveyor to Shalmaneser. He would actually steal their bodies to bury them, and Sennacherib would look for the bodies but not find them. And then a Ninevite told the king what Tobit was doing. So he had all his goods seized by the treasury and nothing left but Anna and his son. Less than 45 days after this. Where did I get 45 days from before? That's interesting, isn't it? Less than 45 days after this. So let me go to this one quickly now. Let's sort this one out. Okay, but after 45 days, the king was killed by his own son. So there it is. That's where I got 45 days. 21. Here we go. So we have 40 days, less than 40 days, and then here we have, but after 45 days, the king was killed by his own sons. So that's interesting, isn't it? So I did have a 45 in my mind there. So yeah, okay, there you go, 45. Interesting there. Less than 45 days after this, the king was murdered by his 2 sons, and they fled to the mountains of Ararat. Yes, a famous chancellor, Ahikar, a son of Tobias' brother, Tobit's brother. Okay, Ahikar was Tobit's nephew, so a son of Ananiel. Okay, interesting. Okay, he was appointed chancellor. So Ahikar, chancellor of the exchequer for the kingdom, and given the main order of affairs. Oh, that's good anyway. He interceded for Tobit and was allowed to return to Nineveh. So Ahikar, chief cupbearer, and Esarhaddon had kept him in office, and he was Tobit's nephew. So the Feast of Pentecost is mentioned in this book. That's quite interesting, isn't it? Geez, my fingers are filthy. Look at them. That's liquid paper. rough, Lord, rough hands. Okay, at the Feast of Pentecost. So, chapter 2, Tobit was blinded, but restored to his wife and son. And at the Feast on Pentecost of weeks, 7 weeks, a good dinner. Okay, so we've done this. Okay, so he's had his eyes blinded, hot sparrow drops. On March the 7th, she finished a piece of work. Now, isn't that as interesting as well? So, on March the 7th, that's a Pacific date, Anna was paid all that was due. And into the bargain, she was given a kid, so all that she was due. Okay, so we've learned that Tobit accused her of stealing the kid. He didn't believe her. Okay, so the Lamentation. Yes, we've read the Lamentation. Okay, so now we are at Sarah, the daughter of the daughter of Raguel, lived in Media at Ecbatana. So she was hearing insults from her mates 7 times in marriage. And the worst of the demons was killed all her bridegrooms. So Tobias, he was looking at being number 8, one after another, before they slept with her as man and wife. The servant girls were very mean to her. So that day, the same day as Tobit lamented, she lamented as well. They were both asking for their life to be taken. So in the Jerusalem Bible, these numbers, okay, can I zoom out? Nope. Okay, so unscrabbling the verses 12 to 15. So in the Jerusalem, okay, so unraveling these. And now I lift up my face, let your word deliver me, and to you I turn my eyes. I can hear myself traduced no longer. O Lord, you know I have not dishonored your name, that I have remained pure. I have not dishonored your name or my father's name in this land of exile. So this time, and they were saying this prayer at the same time, 7th of March. 7th of March. It's interesting. This time the prayer of each of them found favour before the glory of God. Very good. We have a good God. He does listen to prayer. So Raphael was sent to bring remedy to them both. He was to take the white spots from Tobit's eyes, so that he might see God's light with his own eyes, and Sarah, the daughter of Raguel, as bride to Tobias. So we have a bride here. Very interesting. Had 7 husbands. Had 7 husbands already, but by right she belonged to Tobias. By right she belonged to Tobias. So we have a bride. We have a bride in Tobias. And as we will learn, it's in a heavenly decree. It says also Tobit came into the house and Sarah came down from the upper room. It's interesting too, isn't it? Set aside part of your goods for almsgiving. Never turn your face from any poor man, and God will never turn his from you. Measure your alms by what you have. If you have much, give more. If you have little, give less. But do not be mean in giving alms. By doing so, you will lay up for yourselves great treasure for the day of necessity. For almsgiving delivers from death and saves men from passing down to darkness. Alms is a most effective offering for all those who give it in the presence of the Most High. My child, avoid all loose conduct. Choose a wife of your father's stock. Do not take a foreign wife outside your father's tribe, because we are all the sons of the prophets. Remember Noah, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, our ancestors from the beginning. All of them took wives from their own kindred, and they were blessed in their children, and their race will inherit the earth. You too, my child, must prefer your own brothers. Never presume to despise your brothers, the sons and daughters of your people. Choose your wife from among them, for pride brings ruin and much worry. Idleness causes need and poverty, for the mother of famine is idleness. Do not keep back until the next day the wages of those who work for you. Pay them at once. If you serve God, you will be rewarded. Be careful, my child, in all you do. Well disciplined in all your behavior. Do to no one what you would not want done to you. Do not drink wine to the point of drunkenness. Do not let excess be your traveling companion. Give your bread to those who are hungry, and your clothes to those who are naked. Whatever you own in plenty, devote a proportion to almsgiving, and when you give alms, do not do it grudgingly. Be generous with bread and wine on the graves of the virtuous men, but not for the sinner. Ask advice of every wise person. Never scorn any profitable advice. Bless the Lord God in everything. Beg him to guide your ways and bring your paths and purposes to their end. For wisdom is not given to every nation. The Lord himself gives all good things. At his will he lifts up, or he casts down to the depths of the dwelling of the dead. So now, my child, remember these precepts and never let them fade from your heart. Now, my child, I must tell you, I have left 10 talents of silver with Raphael, son of Tobias, at Rages in Media. Do not be afraid, my child. If we have grown poor, you have great wealth, if you fear God, if you shun every kind of sin, and if you do what is pleasing to the Lord your God. So Tobias, on his way, he's looking for someone to travel with to Media, someone who knows the way. The fellow traveller of Tobias. Chapter 5. Tobias then answered his father Tobit, Father, I will do everything you have told me, but how am I to recover the money from him? He does not know me, nor I him. What token am I to give him for him to believe me and hand me over the silver? And besides, I do not know what roads to take for this journey into Media. Then Tobit answered his son Tobias, Each of us set his signature to a note, which I cut in two, so that each could keep half of it. I took one piece and put the other with the silver. To think it was 22 years ago I left this silver in his keeping. And now, my child, find some trustworthy man. So 22 years ago he left that silver. Okay. My child, find some trustworthy man to travel with you. We will pay him for his time until you arrive back, and then go and collect the money from Raphael. Tobias went out to look for a man who knew the way to go with him to Media. Outside, he found Raphael, the angel, standing facing him. Though he did not guess he was an angel of God, he said, Where do you come from, friend? The angel replied, I am one of your brother Israelites. I have come to these parts to look for work. Tobias asked, Do you know the road to Media? The other replied, Certainly I do. I have been there many times. I know all the ways by heart. I have often been to Media and stayed with Raphael, one of our kinsmen who lives at Rages in Media. It usually takes 2 full days to get from Ecbatana to Rages. Rages lies in the mountains, and Ecbatana is in the middle of the plain. Tobias said, Wait for me, friend. While I go and tell my father, I need you to come with me. I will pay you for your time. The other replied, Good, I will wait, but do not be long. Do not be long. Tobias went in and told his father that he had found one of their brother Israelites, and the father said, Fetch him in, I want to find out about his family and tribe. I must see if he is going to be a reliable companion for you, my child. So Tobias went out and called him. Friend, he said, my father wants you. The angel came into the house. Tobit greeted him, and the other answered, wishing him happiness. Tobit replied, Can I ever be happy again? I am a blind man. I no longer see the light of heaven. I am sunk in darkness like the dead, who see the light no more. I am a man buried alive. I hear men speak, but cannot see them. The angel said, Take comfort. Before long, God will heal you. Take comfort. Tobit said, My son Tobias wishes to go to Media. Will you join him as his guide? Brother, I will pay you, he replied. I am willing to go with him. I know all the ways. I have often been to Media. I have crossed all its plains and mountains, and I know all the roads. Tobit said, Brother, what family and what tribe do you belong to? Will you tell me, brother? What does my tribe matter to you? The angel said. Tobit said, I want to be quite sure whose son you are and what your name is. The angel said, I am Azarias, son of the great Ananias, one of your kingsmen. Welcome and greetings, brother. Do not be offended at my wanting to know the name of your family. I find you are my kinsmen, of a good and honourable line. I know Ananias and Jathan, the two sons of the great Shemaiah. They used to go to Jerusalem with me. We have worshipped together there, and they have never strayed from the right path. Your brothers are worthy men. You come of good stock. Welcome. He went on, I engage you at a drachma a day, with your expenses, like my own son. Complete the journey with my son, and I will go beyond the agreed wage. The angel replied, I will complete the journey with him. Do not be afraid. On the journey outward, all will be well. On the journey back, all will be well. The road is safe, Tobit said. Blessings on you, brother. Then he turned to his son. My child, he said, prepare what you need for the journey and set off with your brother. May God in heaven protect you abroad and bring you both back to me safe and sound. May his angel go with you and protect you, my child. Tobias left the house to set out and kissed his father and mother. Tobit said, a happy journey. His mother burst into tears and said to Tobit, why must you send my child away? Is he not the staff of our hands, with his errands to and fro for us? Surely money is not the only thing that matters. Surely it is not as precious as our child. The way of life God has already given us was good enough, he said. Do not think such thoughts. Going away and coming back, all will be well with our child. On the day of his homecoming, you will see for yourself how all is still well with him. Do not think such thoughts. Do not worry on their account, my sister. Our good angel will go with him. He will have a good journey and come back to us well and happy. And she dried her tears. The boy left with the angel, and the dog followed behind. The two walked on, and when the first evening came, they camped beside the Tigris. The boy had gone down to the river to wash his feet, when a great fish leapt out of the water and all but swallowed his foot. The boy gave a shout, and the angel said, catch the fish, do not let it go. The boy mastered the fish and pulled it onto the bank. The angel said, cut it open, take out the gall, the heart and the liver. Set these aside and throw the entrails away, for the gall and the heart and the liver have curative properties. So the story about the fish. The boy cut the fish open and took out the gall and the heart and the liver. He fried part of the fish for his meal and kept some for salting. Then they walked on together until they were nearly at Media. Then the boy asked the angel this question, Brother Azarias, what can the fish's heart, liver, and gall cure? He replied, You burn the fish's heart and the liver, and their smoke is used in the case of a man or a woman plagued by a demon or evil spirit. Any such affliction disappears for good, leaving no trace. As regards the gall, this is used as an eye ointment for anyone having white spots on his eyes. After using it, you only have to blow on the spots to cure them. So that's interesting, isn't it? Let's get to there. I gotta go and charge my phone. So very good. Thank you, Jesus. We'll be back to the fish story.